In this episode, I'm going to continue the quest lore for the Night Elves. If you missed the last episode, then go ahead and click the video up above. But you clicked this video for a reason, so let's just jump into it and find out what's going on in World of Warcraft. Last time we left off with exiting Shadowglen and entering Dolanaar. Upon arriving there, you speak to Carithra's Moonrage, and give him the vial of water that Tanarin wanted you to deliver to him. Now Carithras is standing by a moonwell and wants you to take in the history lesson that's being offered. So the Shade of Kaldorei shows up once again, and tells you that there was a time when the Druids were in disarray. So they got together and convinced the Circle of Ancients in Darkshore that it was time to rebuild. And in an effort to regain immortality, and with the Circle's approval, Archdruid Fandral Staghelm and a bunch of powerful druids grew Teldrassil. And even though the Night Elves have a new home, their immortal lives have not yet been restored. Now Carithras tells you that these moonwells are very special, and that the druids use the water that's inside of them. But the moonwells have to be replenished from time to time. And using a special vial, you're able to collect the water from different moonwells. And Carithras wants you to bring back some of the water from the moonwell outside of Starbreeze Village. And while you're there, listen to the history lesson given at the well. Before leaving, there's quite a few people to talk to, so you're gonna have a lot of quests to do. You run into Naoma, and she says that a friend of hers named Sister Aquin. Let's go with Aquin. No, that's bad. Aquin. Again, just a warning, I'm gonna mess these names up. Anyways, Sister Aquin is training to be a priestess at the Temple of the Moon in Darnassus. But her letters say that she misses her friends from home here in Dolanaar. So Naoma has put together a book of her favorite recipes, and wants you to deliver it to her in Darnassus, and says that you can get there by speaking to Fidelio and renting a hippogriff. You also hand over the herbs that Porthanius wanted you to deliver to Keldamir the innkeeper, who then gives you a choice of a reward of either food or drink, and says to rest here whenever you need to. You then walk up to Athridus Bearmantle, the guy that Tarandrilla wanted you to speak to. Okay, what he tells you is a bit complex, because of names and locations and whatnot. Man, why do they have to make the Night Elf stuff so complicated? He says, a guy named Gerolus, hold on, I gotta see this. Gerolus Talvithren? Gerolus Talvithren. Wow, what a name. Is a warden of a bunch of hibernating druids at a place called Banathil Barrow Den, and he's in charge of keeping a bunch of hibernating druids safe. But Athridus hasn't heard from him in a while, so he wants you to travel to Starbreeze Village and bring back a report from Gerolus. Now that's just a summary of what he says, but if you go back and look into it a little bit deeper, he talks about keeping the hibernating druids pact with Ysera intact. But unfortunately, there's not a lot of backstory when it comes to quest lore. So now you walk up to Talankai Swiftroot, and he says he was once given an emerald dreamcatcher from that Gerolus Talvithren guy. I got the name right. Those dream catchers are used to siphon the energy from the Emerald Dream. And sadly, he left it behind in Starbreeze Village, and hasn't been able to recover it, because now the place is completely corrupted with all the furbolgs there. So you can guess where you're going with this. He wants you to get it for him. On your way out to Starbreeze Village, you run into Zen Foulhoof. And Zen says that he can make you things that you would only dream of having, but he needs certain supplies. He wants you to bring him back 2 Nightsaber Fangs, 2 Strigid Owl Feathers, and 2 swatches of Webwood Spider Silk. What he'll make for you? Guess we'll find out soon enough. Okay, so now it's officially time to head out to Starbreeze Village and find out what's going on over there. As you near the village, you come across a moonwell, and the Shade of Kaldorei appears once again. And the history lesson continues from the last one. So the Druid Fandral Staghelm grew Teldrassil with a bunch of other druids, right? He then went to the Aspect Dragons for their blessing on the new land, because they had done it before in Nordrassil in ancient times. But the dragon Nozdormu, I really hope I'm saying that right, correct me on that pronunciation, Nozdormu, who's the Lord of Time, refused to give his blessing because of Staghelm's arrogance. Alexstrasza refused to give her blessing as well. So Staghelm retreated to his enclave in Darnassus to seek out a different way in which to bless the new land, which would then restore the immortality immortality to the Night Elves. Okay, things are starting to make a little bit more sense now. From here, you fill the vial with the water from the Moonwell, and continue your journey into Starbreeze Village. Before walking in, you kill the Strigid Owls, the Night Sabers, and the Webwood Spiders for their materials. Now, you finally enter Starbreeze Village, and the first thing you do is collect the Dreamcatcher for Teldrassil. Then you head out to find Garrulus, and when you find him, he's lying on the ground, but he's not dead. He's glad that Atheridus and Dolanaar sensed trouble and sent someone to help. Garrulus tells you that the Gnarlpine tribe's corruption has returned, and that he was ambushed by them when he was heading out to Banithil Barrow Den to check up on things. They then proceeded to pillage Starbreeze Village. He also mentions that something in the forest has corrupted their leader, Ursal the Mauler, and that he's using the Felmoss to drive the rest of the Gnarlpine mad. Garrulus wants you to take this report back to Atheridus because he's in no condition to do it himself. So now you run out of Starbreeze Village, and I mean run because a bunch of Gnarlpine are on your tail, and make your way back to Zen Falhoof. You give him the materials that he needed to make you some stuff, and are presented with the severed voodoo claw, along with the foul bag. Now, you make your way back into Dolanaar, and report to Atheridus Baremantle. He says that the news from Starbreeze Village is very disturbing, and that we've had troubles in the past with the corruption of the Furbolgs, but those troubles should have been long gone since the cleansing of Teldrassil. Atheridus says that the Gnarlpine invaders were seen ravaging the Banithil Barrow Den out in the hills in the west, and that the slumbering druids located there will be trapped in the Emerald Dream for eternity, unaware of their fate unless we help them out. Their hibernation ritual cannot be broken without the Relics of Awakening. So now Atheridus wants you to travel to the Banithil Barrow Den, where the sleeping druids are located, and retrieve the Ravenclaw Talisman, Black Feather Quill, Sapphire of Sky, and Ruin of Nesting. Once you have those, you're to return to Atheridus so he can prepare the Awakening ritual. Standing next to Atheridus is Kyra Starsong. She says that the Gnarlpine aggression is limiting our options, and she fears that they'll set their sights on Dolanaar soon. So while you're at the Banithil Barrow Den, she wants you to kill 20 Gnarlpine Furbolgs. Atheridus chimes in and says that some of the huntresses have already made their way over to the den, and that you can catch a ride over there by speaking to Satar, hanging out on the mount over there. Now, you return to Teldrassil and give him back his Dreamcatcher, which he's very grateful for. But the emerald in the center is missing, and he's heard that a band of Gnarlpine mystics have been located north of Starbreeze Village. Their leader, Pharocetus the Dream Eater, has been reported to be wearing a necklace that glows green. That's gotta be his missing emerald. Teldrassil wants you to retrieve the jewel and kill 7 of the Gnarlpine mystics while you're out there. Running up to Carithris, he asks if you retrieve the water from the Moonwell, which you did, and he says that we must remember to re-embrace our connection with nature and with Elune, and push aside our mortal shortcomings. I guess the history of Fandral Staghelm goes to show that the Night Elves just aren't perfect. Now, it's time to make a delivery. You run up to Fidelio, the Hippogriff handler, and show him the cookbook that Naoma wants you to deliver to Sister Akwyn. He says that for a few coins he can get you to where you want to go. So you pay the man, and take a hippogriff all the way into Darnassus. Once there, you run up to Sister Akwyn. She's really excited about the Book of Recipes, and wants you to deliver a thank you note back to Naoma. You then speak to Leora, the Hippogriff Master in Darnassus, and you travel back to Dolanaar. Once there, you make your way to Naoma, who tells you that she's glad that Sister Akwyn liked the book, and that one day Naoma will take a trip to Darnassus to visit her. Let's hope that happens before that place gets burned to the ground. Spoilers. Now that that's all done, there's one more person to talk to before heading out. You walk up to Cyril Bladeleaf. She tells you that the Council of the Forest heard that you aided Zen Falhoof, and that as a night elf, you should know better than to defile the forest by killing nature's creatures. Now you must redeem yourself in the eyes of the council, if you wish to remain a friend of Teldrassil. Cyril wants you to collect 3 Felcones, and give them to Zen Falhoof. He'll think you're giving him a snack, but really you'll be teaching him a lesson. From here, you have 2 major objectives. Head out to the west to the Banithil Barrow Den to deal with the invasion of the Gnarlpine on the Sleeping Druids, and heading out east to retrieve the emerald for the Dreamcatcher. Which area you choose first is completely up to you. So things are starting to make a little bit more sense regarding the blessing of Teldrassil, and as we continue to visit Moonwells, we'll be given more information. And I hope that the quest will clear up a bit more about the past history, but who knows? As for this content, I hope you're enjoying the journey with me. And if you are, consider subscribing to the channel, as well as hitting that bell icon, and especially the like button if this is your kind of thing. And as always, thank you to the Patreon subscribers for all of your help. Every single one of you help keep the energy alive in this channel. If you'd like to support this channel through Patreon, go ahead and hit the link down below. And with that, we'll see you next week when we decide to either go east or west first and find out what happens in the Tales of Azeroth.